Now let's dissect the stories and understand what they are all about with Charles Fakroha, iBrandTV senior analyst. Good morning. Thank you for joining us, Charles.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Well, let's begin with this menace that loan sharks have been posing in the country. Well, we see the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, that's the FCCPC, now approving 173 digital lending applications to operate in the country. And out of these 173 operators, they have said that 119 have full approvals, while 54 have conditional approvals. And this is as a result of all of the issues with harassment of Nigerians and all the messages, incessant, scrupulous messages that they send to Nigerians, saying that some people are owing them and all of that. I'm sure you must have seen some of those messages. But do you see this as a way to reduce or curb that menace?
Yes, thank you very much.
Go ahead, please.
Yes, even this shark. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yes, I said even this morning I got a call from one of these loan sharks,
Wow.
telling me that a relation of mine or an acquaintance of mine has taken some amount of money.
Quite sad. So apparently, if you take statistics of maybe 10 Nigerians,
I should tell the person to pay up, if not switch off. I just cut off the. Yes, we all get that kind of call on a daily basis, and I think it's good now that the FCCPC is really trying to regulate that sector, digital lending sector. It is necessary in any economy. We need to go digital, and that is fine. But at the same time, when you have a playing field that you don't have a referee, you don't have anybody regulating.
Indeed, regulation is a key
of the players, then in the lending space. Yes, regulation is key. And with the FCCPC coming out and saying that, yes, we are consuming this product, so it is their responsibility to ensure that Nigerians get the best. We are not harassed. So we must give kudos to.
Indeed, one of the reasons to want to do all of these banking transactions is the fact that
FCCPC.
Okay, Charles, looks like it's quite distorted. The communication with you looks like your service provider, or is it ours, not really working in favor of the conversation this morning. But of course, we are talking about the top 4 stories, especially this one focused on loan sharks. And now the FCCPC, that's the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, has now said that they have granted approval to 173 digital lending applications to operate in the country, while 173 of these operators are 119 have full approvals, 54 have conditional approvals. I'd like to understand what this conditional approval connotes. Does it mean that they would not be able to operate within the Nigerian space fully?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yes, when you say conditional approval, it's just like approval in principle. You have been given this approval, but you cannot begin to operate until one or two little things have been put in place. But yes, you've been given the approval, but you still need to put one or two things okay before you can start operating. That is the conditional approval. For us, it's a very good development, and we must commend the Nigerian government and, of course, the FCCPC for coming up with this initiative. We need to sanitize the digital lending space.
But what about the case of those who are, have been harassed in the past, those who are going through all of the calls, the incessant messages, and the text, the community, or the barrage of messages from these loan sharks? Are there any legal processes to follow? Is there any reporting system to ensure the protection of the citizens? All right, looks like we've lost we've lost connection with Charles again. But of course, we would be looking at other stories, especially from the FEC, that's the Federal Executive Council, the Minister of Trade, Industry and Investment, Adeni Adebayo, who has disclosed that the ministry would soon submit a new auto policy for the FEC approval. All right, now let's continue the stories, looking at this one coming from the automotive sector. And of course, we still have Charles Fakroha with us virtually. Charles, thank you so much for staying with us.
Thank you.
Let's move straight to this story coming from the Ministry of Trade, Investment and Industry. That the Minister Adeni Adebayo saying that the ministry would soon submit a new auto policy for the Federal Executive Council's approval. And of course, this is focused on the local production of vehicles. He addressed senior executives, for the 5 participants of the National Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies, NIPSS, who paid a visit to the ministry, saying that this would increase local production of vehicles in the country. Are you optimistic about this? And if not, what are some of the hurdles you think they might have to cross in achieving this boost in local production of vehicles? Did you get the question?
I didn't get your question. I didn't get the question. Take it again.
Okay, so I was talking about the proposal to boost local production of vehicles in the country, and that's coming from the Minister of Trade, Industry and Investment.
Yes, it's very good. We see the minister has been all over the place trying to improve investment in terms of the industry, policy development and all that. And the automotive industry is one of those sectors that the minister has done quite well. Not only that this policy is going to improve the production of these automobiles, but it's going to increase employment in that value chain. We need to increase employment in every sector of our economy. Now, trying to say that, yes, we need to make policies that the government has to approve based on the workability of that policy. But what I will say is, apart from ensuring that we produce some of these automobiles here, what happened to the financing? The average worker, if he wants to buy a car, because there must be a demand before you continue to supply. If there is no demand, then of course the supply will also not fly. So I think there should also be a finance policy where workers will be encouraged to buy this automobile on a credit basis. We should encourage consumer loan, because with the increased demand, the average worker, I mean, after school, you get a good job, the next thing is for you to become mobile by having a car.
Well, it's a myriad of issues when you look at this local production of vehicles in Nigeria. For instance, when you talk about boosting local production, what about the market? Who are the target consumers? The Federal Executive Council, those are the hem of affairs who are supposed to encourage. We know that the Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo, has been at the front burner of Buy Nigeria, promote Nigeria-made goods and all of that. But do we see these leaders, those who are at the top echelon of power, do we see them encouraging Nigerians to buy the locally purchased or locally produced vehicles and all other products to even start with? They don't even use this Nigerian vehicles.
Yes, thank you very much. Hello. Hello.
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello.
I can hear you, Charles.
Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay. Leadership must be by example. For these leaders to convince the average Nigerian to begin to use made in Nigeria vehicles, they have to show that example. And I must mention, Ministry of Defense, I've seen some army vehicles being manufactured by a local car manufacturer here in the country. I will not mention the name because he has not paid me for adverts.
But we have just one.
If our leaders here show by example by making use of made in Nigerian automobile, then of course the other workers will be encouraged to begin to buy made in Nigerian cars. Like I've said, the only way you can encourage this is even when you improve the supply, the demand has to be there. So workers have to be encouraged. The average Nigerian worker has to be given the incentive, the finance, to buy these made in Nigerian vehicles so that they will have these cars, and on an arrangement, just like a consumer loan, they begin to pay bit by bit until they're able to pay the balance of owning a car. There must be that kind of arrangement before we can encourage production of these vehicles in the country.
Yes, but how do we do that? Because it has to be a top to bottom approach this time around. If those who are at the top aren't seen doing it, how do you encourage those at the bottom to do it?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It has to be leadership by example. And I mentioned the Ministry of Defense. I have seen a couple of Nigerian Army vehicles being made.
All right, we're still taking a look at the top business stories, and Charles Fakroha, iBrandTV's analyst, is still with us. Well, let's delve into the Nigerian Postal Service, where we see the announcement and plans to launch the digital postcode system in Nigeria come June. The Postmaster General of the Federation, CEO Nipost Adeyemi Adepoju, disclosed this at the end of a two-day workshop or retreat on the digital postcode system in collaboration with the National Population Commission, amongst other partners. Charles, Nipost doesn't seem to be one of the top on the list when it comes to postal services in Nigeria. Why is this so?
You know, anything that is with government always have issue, because people have said government has no business being in business. So, well, Nipost is trying to rebrand. We've had a couple of the Postmaster Generals who have flair for digitalization, and we have seen them improving a little, because I have seen Speed Post trying to compete with other of the delivery and logistic company. But with this new approach now, we believe that Nipost can compete favorably with other companies in the logistic industry. Of course, it is their service that will sell for them, making use of the facilities they have on ground already. Nipost is virtually in all the local governments in the country today, because it is government. So if they can leverage on that infrastructure that they have, improve on it, we will see efficient delivery of mails. And once that is improved, we will see a reduction, you know, like your story have said, a reduction in banditry, and of course, even improving internet services. But what will require to be done by the government is to leave and allow private individuals to buy into Nipost and begin to run it as a private organization. Of course, if Nitel has been done that way, we will see an improvement. So we should not make the same mistake that has been made in Nitel, where government wants to continue to remain to operate it. Government has no business being in business. Let Nipost be sold to private individuals, private businesses that have the capacity to run it. We will see a difference. And of course, government will also get revenue from there. However, government can also say 80% is sold to the public, while 20% remain with government. So at the end of the day, government can also get revenue from Nipost. But with this current arrangement now, where it's fully government, I doubt whether some of this objective will be achieved.
Okay, two questions quickly before you go. Now, you've talked about privatization, selling it to private owners. We saw that happen in the power sector in 2013. Up till now, 10 years after, we're still yet to reap the benefits of that. And then also you talked about the internet, the fact that this would run on internet, and you know that that would have to do with the effectiveness of internet service providers. How much can we bank on these ISPs to provide a digital postal service?
Yes. Again, we saw the telecom companies improving on their infrastructure, and of course that impacting on the services they are delivering. So
but we just
it's
saw,
not.
sorry to button, we just saw that happen. We had some issues connecting with you earlier in the program. We know that there are still some issues when it comes to internet service provision in Nigeria.
Yes, it's a big issue, and gradually, you know.
Okay. So that's what we were just talking about. The fact that internet isn't anything to really write home about in Nigeria. We still have a long way to go when it comes to network service providers, and we hope that with all of these plans of the Nipost services to go digital, especially coming from the Postmaster General, that some improvement would be seen in that regard. Because when it comes to logistics, when it comes to mail delivery and all of the issues that have to do with postal services, your first thought isn't going to Nipost. And I think with all of this, that should begin to change in Nigeria. Well, we must leave it here. Charles Fakroha, thank you so much for your time and contribution to the show this morning. Have a great day. All right, we'll take a break now. When we come back, it will be time for us to delve into the stock market. Stay with us.